What's up guys, it's Jughead here, just a down-to-earth guy trying to bring you some down-to-earth content. Welcome back to my Let's Watch Hunter x Hunter series. Today we're going to be watching episode 37 titled Ging and GON. Holy crap, are we about to get more lore on Ging? The only one or two times we've ever even seen Ging or known anything about him is one from a photograph we saw back at GON's house on Whale Island. The other time was in that dream sequence GON had where he's trying to reach his father, and right as he reaches out, I believe, the bridge collapses from under him and he falls to his dream death. And those were the only two times we've seen Ging's face, I believe. We saw his silhouette when Satots was explaining that he knew GON's father before, but I don't remember if we saw his face. But we don't know his voice, I don't know his character, I know nothing about him except for his face and the outfit he generally wears. So I'm very excited about this. GON and Killua are making their way back to Whale Island now that GON is officially a hunter. He deserves the license he has now, and he wants to show it to his Aunt Mito and his grandmother. And I don't know what's going to be happening from there. If when he gets there, I doubt Ging is going to be there, but maybe there's a note for GON from Ging or something that we're actually going to see some relationship dynamics between GON and his father, and I'm very excited about that. I don't need any more action. The past 5 episodes or so was pure action. You know me, I'm completely down with character development, world building, lore, and just like impactful, meaningful dialogue. So I am prepared. I even got my quality glasses on today to really focus. So let's just get into this right now. So, Hunter x Hunter, episode 37 in 3, 2, 1. Let's watch, shall we? We have a new opening too. After GON and Hisoka's match. He's far away, but he's not out of reach, boy. The attitude of a champion GON has. Need more training in Nen? Need to develop your own style. I just wanted to watch that real quick. We're skipping the intro though, because that's the same thing every time. Now, here we go. Whale Island, right? Or what is this? I don't exactly know. We haven't been to Whale Island in so long, I don't even remember what his homestead looks like. There's this Aunt Mito. Oh, we don't even get the journey of GON and Killua returning to Whale Island. We're just already there. I kind of like that. How long has it been? Like almost a year? Really? I think it's been almost a year. So he's finally reuniting with his family. Remember I said last episode, it's going to be so foreign for Killua to see GON hugging somebody and like to see family embracing each other like that. Because he's probably never experienced that with family before. Oh yeah, and GON writes to his aunt. GON has already mentioned his friend before. Again, just family dynamics that Killua was probably not used to whatsoever. Grandmother, Aunt Mito, all sitting at the table about to bond over what has happened. I don't remember the last time he's written a letter. We get new outfits? Or is GON always gonna be in this? Ooh, we got strict parents. Nice. After everything they've gone through, let's just chill, you know? Oh, that's a meal, all right. Ooh, I forget what that's called, the egg dish. I love that shit. That kicks ass. It is bomb. But I can never remember the name of it. He's like me. Thanksgiving and Christmas, my family's praying. Me not being religious, I'm the one secretly digging in. Same. That's a mood. No better times do I identify with anime characters like Goku and stuff than when he was just feasting. That's me. Oh, here's the hunter license. I'm officially a hunter, taken after my father. I wonder if she's gonna have some mixed feelings about it. Like I said, taking after his father's footsteps, wanting him to be powerful, but not wanting him to become exactly like his father. Like. Nah. Yeah, I was gonna say, they can surely find something to eat in the forest. They had to take down these gigantic boar and cook it themselves. I think they're okay. And they had to survive on an island by themselves for like a week without trying to die. I think they're gonna be okay. I accidentally just spit on my monitor. I'm sorry for being gross. Oh, there's this fishing pole. Right back to episode 1 when he captured that giant fish. Oh, except it's a stick. That's even more impressive, honestly. I wonder if Kilo has ever done anything like this. Whole new experience for him. Like I said, just even sitting down at the table, bonding over with each other. His first friend, so they're both each other's first friend. That's interesting. Dude, living in Chicago in such a metropolitan city, sometimes it's just like I imagine living on an island like that. Just to yourself, the quiet, the peace. Sounds nice. That's why I go to Keystone, Colorado almost every year. You know, I think it's necessary. If you live in the city, you should return to nature for a while and unwind. Just like those who live in the country should visit a city to gain a new perspective. Why do you think your dad's gonna be in York now? Your dad's off doing some crazy shit. Oh yeah, what's Killua gonna do? Oh. What do you mean? Oh. Like what? Oh, well, like what purpose do you have? Ooh, time to open up. There's nothing I really want to do. I don't really have anything I want to do like you do. He doesn't have a purpose. You need to find meaning in your life. Not like your family guided you down that path. Especially when... Yeah, there are plenty of things you don't want to do. Yeah, exactly. Understandable. We knew he was envious in the past. Hell yeah. Let's have some feel-good, positive vibes. Oh. Ooh, new character? New character? Completely isolated, yep. So yeah, spent all his time learning how to kill, and he doesn't want to be that person anymore, so, like, really, you have no purpose. You're pretty much, you've erased everything. You just took that big pink eraser and erased your past, your entire purpose of existence. Let's be bros. Travel the world together. That's some bromance that we all wish for. Nah, why do you have to be... He's like that stereotypical, like, unconditioned male that thinks it's wrong to express your emotions and be vulnerable. And then you realize that's such a bad mindset to have. Because he's not like he's conditioned to have these kind of interpersonal relationships. Oh, shit. We've never known about his mother before. Is she dead? What happened? I can imagine. Mito is Ging's sister, right? Not his mother's sister. Ooh, okay. Kind of like some Harry Potter type stuff. Yeah. That's what I mean by she might be a little have mixed feelings about him being a hunter now. Okay. I would be curious to... Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing to ask. You have a mom. You don't know about your mother, but you already have a mom in your life. There's a difference between mother and mom. Yeah, your mom's a fucking bitch. Who's this? Is this the girl that he was mentioning before? Oh, no, it's Mito. That's nice. So she knows. That's nice. We like that. It has to be very comforting for her that Gon thinks of her as his mom like that. Not his biological mother, but that doesn't matter because he had a mom his entire life who raised him. I really like that. This music is such a different tone than what we've gotten before. I like this music a whole lot more than the music before. It's like the Naruto music. I like the flutes and the more angelic. It makes sense for this show. Fits the tone of what's going on so much more. I don't really like the upbeat music that they have, but this was nice. Ooh, shit, okay. Ooh, shit, okay. Oh, his dad knew already. His dad knew he would become a hunter. Everything I know about Ging, everything I know about your father, is it going to be a voice message? A letter? What? This is about... Oh, Ging is my cousin. Wait. What? I'm confused now. I'm going to have to go into this later. I don't want to think about it right now and miss the dialogue. Always looking at his back. Age 12, Ging left the island to take the hunter exam. He's such a cool looking guy. Oh, he has the fishing pole in his hand. So he left it to GON? Damn, he looks exactly like GON. There's something that I want. What do you want? Another very goal-oriented person, just like an enhancer is. Almost to a selfish extent. Wow. Never seen Ging again. When she was 12. Oh my god, even the grandmother's coming out with the truth bombs. Oh. Wow. Ging's father went missing on a fishing trip. Wow, what the hell? This is some emotional shit. And does Ging not know any of this? Oh, 10 years later, Ging returned to the island. Okay. What the fuck? This is a thumbnail right here. Wow. So his mother's not dead. Wow. He wasn't even born on this island. They don't know anything about his mother. His mother's not dead, but that's your mom. Okay, we don't need to include this stuff, but oh my god, this family dynamic is so fascinating. Wow. GON wasn't even born on this island. Ging and Mito are cousins. So their parents are related. That's confusing. Wow. Ging is an enigma. That was such a cool shot, holding his son in his arms. That is what I was so confused about before. I was like, how the hell did he leave at 12? But then GON was here. It's not like he had a kid at 12. He had a kid somehow, returned him here, and then left again. Wow. Ah, okay, well. Oh, so she lost a best friend, or the only friend. That has to be sad. I'm liking this vibe. No action, literally all lore. I am locked in. That reminds me exactly of the shot of GON under the tree after he got punched by Hisoka. I just can't believe the Ging GON history I just learned. Wow. Dude, he looks exactly like Ging GON does. Holy crap. Completely different style, though. Yeah, Killua is chillin'. This doesn't really have any emotional weight to him whatsoever. GON will stay up all night to listen to anything about his father. He left that for his son because his son would not only become a hunter, but want to search for him. That's insane. Are we about to hear his voice? I feel like that's a voice box or something. Look at them muscles and veins popping out. Is it going to be like some Excalibur type stuff? The gentle of your hand, if you're worthy. And you shall be named King Arthur. Put the hunter card in it. Put the hunter's license in it. To prove you're a hunter, put the hunter license in it. Put the license in it. Put your license in it. Hey. I'm a genius. Oh! Ooh, Nen. Oh, I'm a dumbass then. Never mind. It's not the hunter license. You didn't have Nen before. Use your hot suit to open it. Oh, shit! Is this a Matryoshka doll, or what the hell is this? Russian nesting dolls. Yo, there's etchings on that, like hieroglyphics or something. What? What is it? Am I stupid? Ooh, shit. That was held by his Nen? Yeah. Dude, this music is so much better. I love this right now. It's eerie. Now you put your card in. Holy shit. Bingo. Look at that ring. Dude, I'd be putting on that ring so fucking fast. That thing looks so fucking cool. Put that in your computer. Why would your father do something bad to it, though? Ooh, yeah, so it is a voice recording tape. I want to hear his voice. Get the computer out. Yeah, you don't want to lose that. Killua knows what he's doing. Killua is prepared. Oh, it was a cassette tape. That would make sense because this anime was originally made back in I don't know when. Come on. Come on. Let's hear his voice. Oh, oh, he has a nice voice. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Yes, yes you do. His voice kicks ass. Oh my god. Yeah, first time Gon ever heard his father's voice. Yeah. Ging knew his son would become a hunter. He knew he would want to find him. He left this tape. Holy fuck. So, let's discuss. First off, 37 divided by 148 is, I think, exactly 25%. So, that means I am officially a quarter of the way through Hunter x Hunter. Hell yeah. Some of you may not think this episode right here has a lot to talk about, but trust me, I am about to be discussing a lot. And I don't even want to waste any time. Let's get right into this because I'm about to show you just how much there is to talk about. This episode was supposed to come out yesterday, but my notes alone for this episode took 2 days. So that just goes to show how much I want to talk about. So, dude, this has to be the best streak we've had of perfect episodes so far. Like, holy shit, this has been perfect. Our characters get to relax, and so do we by extent of them. Such action-packed episodes with Heaven's Arena matches and the drama. Like, we're zooming down Route 66. I really appreciate slamming on the brakes here to take the scenic route and slow down. They're leaving the city for the country. We're leaving the highway for the back roads. You know me by now. If you've been watching and listening from episode 1, you know I'm the one who values and prefers writing and character dialogue where emotion, substance, and impact is at the forefront. That means so much more to me than the battles and the fights and the action. Take Hisoka and the GON match as an example. I care more about what was said and felt before and after the match than what actually happened during the match. Same goes for all shows, all anime, all film and cinema. So take an episode like this. Holy shit, perfection, like I said. This was just also the sweetest of episodes, don't you agree? Like, especially the first half. This episode had so much heart. Like, wow. A great epic of an adventure series exists, and within it are laid back, down to earth, character focused episodes like this. That's my perfect cup of tea, okay? Nothing captures my imagination and engages me more than a writer creating and combining a seemingly endless stream of choices and decisions that culminates in a highly memorable character. And something super powerful that can go into that is providing deep and tranquil moments of intimacy and grounding. You take that one step further when those moments take place during such crucial periods like when stakes are high all around us. That's how you capture my imagination. You keep me engaged and ultimately win over my emotional investment. I give you everything. If that happens, if a work ignites that spark, that's how I cry. That's how I yell in excitement. That's how I create a 1 hour, 15-minute total video out of a 20-minute episode of anime. Surely you can notice a pattern in my Let's Watch series where my longer discussions usually come during episodes that fit this description, where the dialogue to action ratio is high. This episode single-handedly, no doubt, brought us closer to both Gon and Killua in every other episode combined has. The humanity we gained in this episode, like, just take a step back and realize that. You just can't ever get enough of that shit. You know what I mean? We got closer to them, but they got closer together too. The arrival back home while on the precipice of new greater adventure, the question of what each of them want for themselves. I get goosebumps right now just describing this and the symbolism there. We appreciate more fully these are two children, but recognize that because of what they've gone through, they can never go back to their past selves. Who they are now can't be reversed. Gon and Killua are not the same when they left Whale Island and Kukuro Mountain, respectively. I'm not precisely the same person as when I first started this series. That's my thesis statement to the discussion out of the way. This is going to be an episode about emotions and subjectivity for sure. I want to start with a really interesting thought that occurred to me right away when I rewatched the episode again to prepare for this discussion. This episode is actually an episode where you need to watch it a second time and view it from a different perspective of each of our characters that are present. This is the first episode where we also shift from looking through the eyes of Gon and instead through the eyes of Killua. That's what I mean. You need to look at it from the perspective of Killua first, Gon, and Mito. Our perspective is more closely related to Killua's here overall. We're both the visitors learning more context about Gon as a person. So we see at the same angles through the same viewpoint. We finally return to Whale Island after so long. Like, what has it been? Almost a year? I forget. Gon said how long it's been, but I forget how much it was. We never even really got to see much of Whale Island before. And what I did see in the beginning painted a much different picture than what I see this episode. We left Whale Island so quickly in the beginning of the story that there's not much we learned about where Gon comes from. And isn't that a really important thing to learn to really know somebody? Like when you meet someone new, wouldn't one of the first questions you ask them be, "Oh, where are you from?" My sense of Whale Island was a place where Gon spent much of his time in nature, learning and training in a most natural form, inadvertently so, while he explored and interacted with a tiny, tiny chunk of an overall much grander world, the wildlife, etc. That so much has been reinforced quite consistently throughout the series thus far. We understand his home life to be, or at least implied to be, a warm, loving, stable place, a typical domestic family and home life. I guess aside from the atypical yet vague makeup of Gon's family, only aware that his father left him to be raised by his Aunt Mito and his mother is presumed dead, we now know that's not all true, but we'll get into that later. I brought it up just briefly at the end of my last discussion when we found out the two would be visiting Gon's home and family, that I expect to see some subtleties in the reactions Killua has to such a different family dynamic and home life than his own. That is a huge theme in this episode throughout, and something I couldn't stop thinking about. Gon waving and yelling to Mito, running to her to embrace her with that smiling face of his, and Killua almost solemnly walks behind, hands in pockets, face looking down. It's probably a sight that makes little to no sense to him, completely foreign concept to hug your loved ones or even have a loved one, to even express love, perhaps. I don't know if Killua is to the extent someone like Gaara from Naruto is, as well as Killua's surprised look on his face when Mito already knew his name. Not, I guess, not really thinking Gon would have talked about him maybe in his letters to her to think of himself as that important in Gon's life, even though he spoke of Gon with his own father in this immense enthusiasm and passion. This is where our Killua perspective begins. This scene is so new and fresh to us as it is for Killua, we can't help but relate to Killua most here for once. You immediately draw out the implicit contrast between both homes, Gon and Killua's. Here, there is no testing gate. There is no security. There are no walls or barriers to entry. There is no guard dog. There's no lines drawn in the dirt. There's no blood or bruises. No torture dungeons. No butlers to appease and win over through psychological manipulation. No dedicated audience chambers just to speak to your own family. No constant surveillance. You're seeing Killua in a home of bubble baths, laundry lines, soft beds, pillows, home cooked meals, sitting together at the table, giving thanks, packed lunches for adventures off into the woods, full of sunlight and rich color and fresh breezes, and just an overall sense of leisurely freedom and cheerfulness. And I love when Mito got all upset at Gon, wishing he told her he was coming home so she could have had something ready for dinner already. Like, just imagine the back and forth, like, "Ah, your new friend Killua came all the way home with you to visit, and I don't even have anything prepared." And Gon's just like, "It's okay, Aunt Mito. I went to visit Killua's home, and I got the shit beat out of me." But my heart was warmed every time we could see a smile appear on Killua's face from what he was observing as a fly on the wall almost in this family. Like I've already described, the episode starts off by really conveying the contrasting childhoods and home lives they have each had growing up. Nothing like Killua has ever experienced before. Really cool to see just how eager Gon was to take Killua on an adventure of his own to show him his home of Whale Island. So far, Killua has kind of been the one with the more life experience. He knows the cities, he knows the streets, he knows the dangers of the real world. Killua's the urban kid. Gon was following Killua in a sense there. Gon was the one experienced these things for the first time. Killua was the one almost teaching Gon some life experience and different perspective and street smarts almost. Here, the roles are reversed. Gon knows the outdoors, nature, the forests and the beaches and the cliffs and the farms. Gon knows the innocence of life. This was the first time Killua was experiencing the innocence of a childhood he never had and the simplicity that the world can offer. Here, Gon gave Killua new perspective and taught him a different additional way to think or see things and see the world. Even something like spending the night outdoors cooking a meal that you caught yourself, surrounded by wild creatures under the stars, a fire that you built keeping you warm and protected. That was a dope shot. Surely something Killua experienced for the very first time, especially just the freedom he had and must have felt during that entire day going into the night. And when the late night hits and the two of them are laying under the stars next to their campfire in silence, sharing thoughts and feelings with one another, that was a truly amazing sequence. This is where we get into what I talked about in the beginning of this discussion. I value character dialogue, substance, and emotion most, and nothing capturing my emotion, attention, and emotion more than deep, intimate moments making characters all that more memorable. The music we hear is beautiful, the environment we see is beautiful, the friendship we witness here is beautiful too. Speaking openly about their friendship, their families, their goals, their futures, their plans, their dreams. This was the tenderest scene to me. Killua asks Gon what he should do. And Gon almost like takes offense to that. Like to him, the answer was obvious, and he assumed it to be that Killua and him would stay together and go together to New York New once they leave Whale Island. Not even offended, maybe, but almost like worried, like he doesn't want to lose his friend. Reminds me back when Killua was the one worried of losing Gon. The feeling is openly mutual. Killua corrects him immediately, like, no, 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 don't worry. That's not what I mean. I'm indeed coming with you. We're sticking together. We're bros. But what I meant was, what do I do with my life? What is my purpose? Killua tells Gon straight up he admires him because he has things he wants to do, things he wants to pursue. He set a purpose and direction for himself and is unwavering in that. Well, he doesn't really have anything like that for himself. All he knows are the plenty of things, the long list of things that he doesn't want to do. He knew he didn't want to be in that house any longer. The last thing he wants to do is take over the family business. But when you were stuck in that house your entire childhood, and all you were raised to be as a child was a killer, and all you were raised to do was lead the family in the business, when you abandon all of that, the only things you ever knew that previously defined you, what do you do from there? When you erase it all and try to wipe your life clean and to start from new, the first question you ask yourself is, who am I? And what is my purpose of my existence? You know, I love philosophy. I try to incorporate it in as many of my discussions as possible to open all of our minds together to different ways of thinking, spark conversations with one another. And I thought thoughts that you might not have thought about as deeply before and maybe influence you to explore this idea even more by yourself after this video is over. Killua revealing his complete uncertainty about figuring out what he wants to do with himself in this life of his is an amazing character development step. His parents, Illumi, even Costa, remember, in the hallway, though subtly, Killua can't escape from being told what he ought to or ought not want. Since we were first introduced to him, the question of what do I desire has essentially been present and evolving this entire time. He originally told Gon in the tunnel he was taking the hunter exam, not for any particular personal ambition or goal, unlike what Gon had, but because he was bored and wanted to see how easy or hard it was. It was just for kicks. This all culminated in that climax, declaring that all he wanted to be was friends with Gon and live a normal life and get his childhood back. After Gon rescued him from the estate and after leaving Heaven's Arena with their goals met, the two have a good thing going for themselves now, and they've grown a lot as friends. But now, Killua must grapple with the what's next question. What happens now? What do I do with myself in my life now that I have this freedom that I have never experienced before in my life? It's like a blind person seeing for the first time. It's all too relatable in real life to all of us through all stages of our lives, no matter how old any of us here are. In this moment, all you want for Killua is to be happy. And not so much just happy, but fulfilled. But to find his passion and his purpose. He is far too young and good to want and find nothing else. Gon, in a way, has inherited a legacy from his father, or a path he is compelled to go down. You can understand Killua's jealousy that he admits to him. Gon is also an enhancer, and how I described enhancers myself, although can't be taken as fact, they are incredibly goal-oriented to me. Gon has probably never had such difficulty in this aspect about himself. I deeply appreciate this dialogue between our Gon and Killua, and more so the perspective and feelings we get from Killua, using Killua to explore such imperative philosophical existential ideas that to me, everyone ought to be thinking to themselves constantly throughout their life. People often ask questions like, who am I? Or what do I do with my life? Let's explore the first question. You know what the most fascinating part about that question is? It's that who am I is the only question ever worth asking, yet it's the only one never answered. What your destiny is to play an infinity of roles, yet these roles are never you. You're a spirit, you're non local, and all you do by the time you die is leave a fingerprint, your body. If you're going to ask yourself who you are, stop trying to answer it with labels because labels are not you. You cloud yourself with judgments, labels, definitions. We all do that. It's hard to not be distracted by self image and ego. It's hard to see them against the backdrop of totality, the whole context of life. It is hard, but I think that's why we ought to try that. By trying to answer, who am I? You label yourself. I'm Jughead. I'm Evan. I'm the oldest son in my family. I'm an economics major. I'm a graphic designer. I'm a content creator. I'm 24. I'm American. I'm a man. I'm straight. I'm single. One day I might call myself a father, a husband. I don't know. Those are all labels. That's not me. You will never be able to answer that question because any answer you attempt to give is too simple for the complexity that is you. Having labeled myself, I no longer see myself. I see the labels instead. When I don't have labels for myself, I can see myself afresh. There's no dust on the lens. And I in the world can then sparkle with newness almost. And again, this is really hard to talk about or understand, comprehend, think about, and let alone actually implement into your life. Just always ask yourself that question. It's the only question worth asking because it's the question you will be exploring throughout the entirety of your mortal life until one day it's over. Just know while you explore it that you will never find the answer. That's the irony, or better yet, paradox about words. Although they tell you what you are still more than they can ever tell. Think of that symbolism back on Zevil Island of the butterfly getting caught in the web. Think of yourself the same way whenever you try to define yourself and answer that question, who am I? We as humans are wrapped up in words exactly the way that spider wraps a butterfly in silk. Only we're both the spider and the butterfly because we often imprison ourselves in our own web. In our lives, what limits us first and last are names, labels, and definitions. All those things are obviously useful, sure. Like my name lets me know which birth certificate is mine or something. But just as you see the usefulness, you gotta see the limitations. My name is a label. With it, I can see on my birth certificate I was born on this day, at this time, at this hospital to my parents. My name then defines me as going to this elementary school, this high school, that university, my degree being my own hung up on my wall, this YouTube account being my own, my profession I belong to. I'm 24 already. My identity is enclosed in a box of words. By the time I'm 30, it'll be hemmed in an even bigger box. That box could say content creator, graphic designer, economist, educated at blah, 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 married with 2 children, house owner with a mortgage. These are all facts. It's not like they're inaccurate, but they're misleading. They trap an unconditional spirit inside conditions. These conditions and limitations you might notice don't pertain to you, they only pertain to your body, and we're all much more than just our bodies. I try really hard to look at my body as consciousness taking shape in our world. I try to separate the term solid with real. We seem to have a prejudice with equating solid with real, as if the only reason we see ourselves as real is merely our bodies because they are solid, and you cannot describe actual you, your spirit, what is inside your body as solid as you so you might not equate it to being real. That is why we probably have the phrase home is where the heart is. Our bodies define where we are. Without one, we wouldn't know where home is, since isn't home where our bodies go for shelter and rest. I just think it's so interesting how we as humans cling to our bodies. It is enough to say this package of flesh and bones is you, but only if everything else is around you is also you. That tree, that rock, that hill is also you. Your body is no better than a coat rack on which you hang your beliefs, fears, dreams, labels, prejudices. Hang too many coats on the rack and you can't even see the rack anymore. This is what we do with our bodies and ourselves. You can't see the truth of yourself if all you do is accumulate the weight of your past upon yourself. It's like, remember when you were really little and someone like your mom was like all important to you? It never occurred to you for even a second that your mother had a life of her own other than being mother. Of course it didn't. You're a child. It's only after you grow up that you see the other roles she played, like wife, sister, daughter, whatever profession she was in. It's pretty impossible for little kids to understand or accept that the fact that their mother's lives are not centered around motherhood. But what do we do as we get older? We follow the examples and in the footsteps of our parents. We slip into our own roles. The question, who am I, is just so fascinating. Uh, I love talking about this stuff so much. Even if it doesn't make immediate sense, I just love wrapping my head around these thoughts. Proper meditating really helps exploring this. Actual proper meditating that you put a lot of effort into getting right. Because, at least in my experience, it has allowed me to escape my name and form. Even something as simple as serious breathing exercises, where all effort you are capable of is put into focusing on the exact moment, right as you go from breathing in to breathing out, focusing on that almost tangential point on the parabola that is your breath. You can picture, if you can picture that in your head. That's almost how my brain imagines it, like literally like a photograph or a calculation of a parabola, and the tangential point on that parabola. Similar to like when you throw a baseball in the air or any ball, the ball follows a trajectory, a parabolic curve. And the tangential point of that curve is when velocity equals zero and falls back down the same way it was thrown up. I don't know. I'm just a huge nerd, I guess. I think of math somehow when I meditate. I'm a nerd. But like I said, it helps me escape my name and form. I stop thinking and you just get this rush of naturalness. Your thoughts aren't actually really your own. If you're in school thinking about a test, the questions that might be on it, if you studied enough and so on, you aren't having those thoughts. Student is. If you're a woman thinking of her child, how they did in school today, what to make for dinner, etc., mother is having those thoughts. If you're in your medical practice checking up on your patients, looking at their charts, thinking of diagnoses and tests, writing prescriptions, doctor is having those thoughts. These are all useful roles, but all of our roles come to an end someday. And on that day, each of us will be faced with that riddle, who am I? Which will never get answered no matter how well you played your roles. That is the essence of what I'm trying to explain, I think. I think stepping out of your roles, even if for a moment, is something incredibly powerful and helpful and healthy. It can really help you unpack trauma or inner thoughts and just I don't even know how to describe it because it's like an indescribable in words thing. Just as I said, words are a prison that I don't want to trap what my thoughts are in words in that way. Everyone does it without knowing it. It's like when you wake up in the morning, there's a singular instant before you actually start thinking about your day. A singular moment of simply just feeling awake without any one particular thought on your mind, just yourself in the simplest form of awareness. Maybe I don't make any sense at all. I don't really think I'm always meant to. Maybe I should just stick to talking strictly about Hunter x Hunter. I don't know. But this is just the type of stuff I think about through literally anything and everything, even anime right now. I just, I think just having this channel of mine, people watching me, I can talk to others and maybe sometimes I maybe want to teach them something. You hear something you might not have heard before. So then you start thinking about something you might have ever thought before. And maybe it sounds interesting and impactful to you and you think of yourself. You gain a little bit of introspection, perspective. I don't know. Maybe you see the question, who am I, differently. And maybe before you thought something like meditating was stupid or something that you can't do, but maybe not anymore. I just think it's interesting to think of yourself as more than just your body, thinking of yourself more as being timeless and being as less strongly identified with the roles you're playing. Thinking of all the people who get devastated when they lose their jobs, when their children move out of the house, when a loved one dies, how their sense of I is so wrapped up in the accumulated names, labels, and roles that they haven't ever made time to find out who they really are. Reality, much like yourself, is not something that can be defined, it can only be experienced. Being fully human is what makes us real. It's like try to be more alert to those brief moments during your days when you might experience your most fundamental self, whether it be behind a breath, a sensation, or an emotion. Like maybe before you roll over, check your phone, and get out of bed tomorrow, see if you can catch that fleeting hint of pureness and simplicity before your brain starts chatting away in there. I think this whole thing has a lot to do with the greater question Killua asks himself: what do I do with my life? Or another way of saying that is, what is my purpose? Or another way, what is the meaning of life? Killua is jealous of Gon because he seems to have that answer already. What I would tell Killua and what I would tell myself and what I would tell you is the most creative act you will ever undertake is creating yourself. That to me is your purpose, creating your most genuine, authentic self, and then going out in the world adding value, however you see fit to do so. And don't make a big deal out of it. Don't expect or anticipate any result in anything you ever do, but be alert to whatever does happen. Whatever happens is good. Might not make sense now, but the more you think about it, it probably will. Main thing all of us ought to do with our lives is find peace. Your mind does a really good job and probably succeeds at making you intelligent, but our minds do a really shitty job at making you happy, fulfilled, and at peace with yourself. It's just poorly equipped. So, one purpose of yours can and should be fixing that. Do that, trusting in each stage of your life, celebrating each one, and allowing the next to come to you effortlessly. You don't pursue happiness, pursue meaning. The problem with the pursuit of happiness to me is that when life's storms come along the way, happiness disappears. So what the hell are you left with? You're left with nothing. That's why I think seeking happiness is a low goal to have. You should be seeking meaning instead and attacking that with everything you got. That thing that is deeper than happiness, whatever it is. If happiness comes along the way, that's fucking dope. You don't want to just despise happiness or ignore it or be against it. I just think it's much better to pursue meaningful things over things that make you happy. What do I want to do is also a really hard question. Killua knows what he doesn't want to do, and I think that's going in the right direction. I think that's something many of us need to sift through. It makes me think of the concept of living for a dream you don't really want. Like I told this example to one of my friends who is younger than me, yet is working in the corporate world and complains about hating his job and how unhappy and unfilled he is. But my friend, is the type of person who usually defines himself with his job because jobs have titles. Literally the person I just philosophically told you not to be. I don't think I get it into his head enough that maybe the reason he's unhappy is because he strives for the labels. He attaches himself to the labels. He sees the money, the salary, the position, and puts up with the unhappiness and the absence of meaning in his life because it's just easier, I suppose. And kind of like Killua and Gon dynamic, he has admitted he feels jealous of me because I always sound passionate and alive almost when I talk about my life. I gave him this example and I'll repeat it to you. Someone gets their job somewhere like Goldman Sachs and they're like an analyst or something there, meaning they're essentially at the bottom of the totem pole, bottom of the food chain, and they tell themselves if they just keep grinding and keep grinding that things will get better. Then they find themselves as associates at the firm. Now they make more money. They get to fly first class for the 10 days they get to themselves every year, and the other 355 they're working. Then they become vice presidents, then they become directors, then they become managing directors. Now they make $15 million a year and they've made it. They've sacrificed so much. They're 58 years old, been divorced a couple times, estranged from their kids, no friends, and that's the end of the rainbow. And now they look back at their life like, this is it. This is what I did it for. And they're filled with nothing but overwhelming regret, emptiness, and loneliness. don't have that story be about you. Now, this is in no way tied to the feelings Killua is expressing right here. And I know I have talked for a very long time about extremely abstract, subjective, philosophical, existential ideas. I apologize if you don't care about this or think it's boring. I'm sorry. It's just what I like talking. Why am I saying sorry? I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. I just felt compelled to answer those two questions myself. If they're presented to me, if you asked me those questions to me, that's how I would answer them. Who am I and what do I do? Or what is the meaning of my life or what is my purpose? And I answer that through my mind. It didn't really have much to do with Killua as a character directly. I just thought this character development of his that he presented, it gave a good opportunity to explore these ideas. Maybe I was overdue for some philosophical expressions. I don't get to do that very often. So let's just get back into the episode here. So, yeah, this is the first time Killua has actually been free or anywhere close to free. You don't choose to be born. You don't choose what family you're born into. You don't choose your parents. You don't choose your family, but you choose your friends. Blood is not thicker than water. Sometimes your friends are more family to you than actual family. I can attest to that. Killua was born into that family, forced into the business, and training to become a killer and take on the lead role. And his first semblance of freedom was when he originally ran away, where he met GON. Killua can choose his friends. He can choose his life from here on out. He ran away from everything he only ever knew. Like, remember in Heaven's Arena, he commented about how this new life of his is hard. No killing is hard. It's literally like retraining or rewiring your brain. I think the actual technical term of that is neuroplasticity. I can see this literally being his brain having to restructure itself, recognizing the need to adapt. Probably gotta be some complicated shit to do with receptors and synapses. I don't fucking know. All I know is that it can't be a quick process. It's something Killua has to go through for some time. And here was also a very important cultural difference. Gon openly tells Killua he thinks it's really fun being with him. And Killua doesn't really like hearing stuff like that. He thinks it's weird and sappy. It's apparently this emotional vulnerability and open expression of emotions that is not a cultural family value he was brought up in or exposed to. Like, what can you really expect? I doubt he ever got an I love you from his parents or a I'm proud of you or a good job, kid, or whatever else. And it's not like he had any friends previously to share feelings with and be open and honest with, no repercussions or worries or judgments from them. Being a Zoldyck, everyone else at the estate was your subordinate. You are their master. There is no true relationship there. But Gon is your friend, meaning you can be open, honest, vulnerable, and yourself with him. And he will likewise be the same towards you, which he is. Killua just doesn't know that. He has no previous friendships to understand healthy friendship dynamics. Killua certainly knows loyalty. There's no question about that, but he doesn't know how friendships work in this regard. Have any of you experienced this before with people? Because I definitely have. I preached the three pillars in all of my relationships, romantic or platonic, girlfriend, best friends, honesty, loyalty, and communication, and always being a source of positive vibes, security, and love to them. Because some people out there never hear a single good thing. They aren't told they're loved or cared for or protected or safe, you know? I've said before, I don't really care about or love many things because people toss around the word care and love way too loosely and casually, in my opinion. I hold those two words to a very high regard and standard in my mind. But I care about my close friends and my best friends, and I love them. If I tell you I love you, those words coming out of my mouth directed at you, you know that is real. I don't care about or love some of my own family. I can't help it, and I'm not going to be apologetic for that. I don't care about acquaintances either. I don't care about surface level friendships. I have no problem telling a person to their face who thinks they're friends with me that I'm not their friend and they're not mine. We're acquaintances, and I don't care. If I see you like once every couple months when there are larger get-togethers to hang out and my actual close friends like invite you, that don't make us friends. my best friend of like 20 years since kindergarten, that's my brother, okay? His mom died a few months ago. His mom was like a second mom to me. You can imagine we've been friends since we were 4 or 5 years old. I'm 24 now. I wrote like a 4 page handwritten letter to him and mailed it to him, sharing my emotions with him and just talking about his mother. And I've cooked him and his family dinners and drove over, giving them huge dishes of dinners that they could just heat up in the oven or easily put together. So that's one less thing to worry about. Like my closest friends know, like, if they need a ride home from somewhere, like if they're drunk, need to get picked up, Uber is way too expensive, or it's like really late and they don't feel safe, especially for like my best friend who is a girl. I double make sure she knows that I'm a text or phone call away. I do it because I want to. I also and also I love my friends enough that a 15-minute car ride with them still means a lot to me. 15 minutes or 5 hours of hanging out, I care about. 15 minutes of a drive is 15 minutes I would have otherwise had with them. And every time I leave my friends, I leave their house, get out of their car after they drop me off, or I drop them off, even getting off the phone, I tell them each and every time, I love you. That is so normal to me and a huge part of my personality. That's just me. If I love you, you know. And I value time very much. And the world is a very unpredictable reality. I'll share some stuff with you. I'm from Chicago. I love my city. I think it's the best city in the United States. But my friends and I know multiple kids we grew up playing basketball with in the parks, or we hung out with after school sometimes when we were younger, who are dead now. A kid my friends and I used to play basketball with in the parks or hang out with after school sometimes when we were younger was shot and murdered in his car not but a couple years ago in a parking lot of a Mexican joint we used to ride our bikes to for lunch sometimes during the summers. And my friends and I live in good neighborhoods, so I don't really want to hear from people that it ain't that deep or whatever. Kids I used to play in the park with have been murdered. Some of my closest friends have been held up at gunpoint. I've witnessed a stabbing while taking the red line here before. I never want to wish I told my friends I love them more than I have or more than I do. I'd rather it be I say it too much than in hindsight wish I did it more. If they haven't heard a single good word all day or no one else has told them that they love them, I know and they know they getting it from me. A lot of my friends also come from like toxic families, households, sad, upsetting family dynamics, emotional, verbal, or physical abuse, addiction or alcoholism, drama and trauma. Just shit that fucks with you and fucks you up as a child that is obviously going to influence your outlook on many things in life. I come from not the prettiest family myself. We all have demons, trauma, and complicated shit in our lives going back years or even happening right now today. I want them to know for a fact what love and positivity and security is at all times. I think a lot of men, especially, aren't exposed to this in their friend groups or their day to day life. Definitely to me, the case that certain societal culture has generally and historically told men and boys growing up to hold things in, don't cry, don't show emotion, it's weak, be a man. Just the same as I think historically and culturally, I think girls grew up thinking that assertive, confident, independent, free thinking women were seen as bitches, while the same qualities made men bosses. I'm glad to see younger generations throw that garbage out the fucking window. Also, doesn't hurt that a lot of these old, dusty, misogynistic, racist, bigoted, old fashioned fucks would just die already. Like, bruh, tick, 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 time to clock out, okay? But to get back to serious, the guys that are my closest friends, we're like this. We're very comfortable with ourselves, our masculinity, femininity, our feelings, our emotions, our confidence. We're not insecure. For the most part, I can only chalk it down to insecurity or something if you can't openly and confidently tell your best friend to their face, I love you. And just tell all your friends, I love you. And if they think that shit's weird or they don't return that energy back to you, you need some better friends or something, or more mature friends. Same with my female friends. I tell them I love them all the time. I love you, hug, embrace, very close. Or like my girl best friend, for example. Although still vastly different, we do share some similar enough family backgrounds that I understand some of her pain and her emotion. She also hasn't had the best relationship history. As a guy, I know there are so many guys out there that are just like straight up pigs, assholes, narcissists, manipulators, just toxic ass motherfuckers, okay? Of course, there are women like that too out there. I just ain't talking about them right now. And I honestly don't really have any experience with them. I guess I'm pretty lucky and I have a pretty good filter, I guess, but I've seen plenty of these types of guys. And she's had a history of like guys who make her feel like shit. And she's told me that I've helped her raise her standards as well as value herself more, love herself more as a human being, especially when it comes to a partner. Zero tolerance policy on things now, which I really love to see. Something as simple as like basic chivalry. I don't think she's ever touched the door handle on my car before because I always make sure to open the door for her. I don't think my mom's ever touched the door handle on my car either. Like my mom sure as hell loves to hit my car door with her car door when our cars used to be parked in her garage together. Really loved to do that. All the scratches on my door handle, but I don't think her hands have ever touched it. Or like I don't think any girl for that matter has ever touched the door handle of my car. Or like when I'm going out to a restaurant or a store, they don't dare touch that goddamn door handle, okay? I got it. And I do that because I want to and I like to. It's just like my mom just instilled very like certain things in me. It's how my mom raised me and I like seeing the smile on their face when like when an act of service is done like that. It's like a love language to me. Open doors, give up my jacket if cold, walk them to their door. Don't drive off until I see any of my friends get inside their door. I pump their gas for them because, again, I live in Chicago. Gas stations here can be sketchy as fuck. I don't go to certain gas stations around me because people have been stabbed outside their cars before, okay? If I'm with a girl, I don't want them outside the car. I also make sure to be a bit more aware and cautious when I'm out at bars or whatever with some of my girlfriends because women are actively preyed on. I don't care what motherfuckers say. I've had to pretend to be the boyfriend to a female stranger before because a creep was following her. On more than one occasion, I've had to do that. Or guys at bars who don't take no for an answer and harass or grope girls. Like, it's a two-letter word, dude. N-O. Are you fucking deaf or stupid or just a loser? Let alone just how popular drugging and roofing girls at bars and clubs is, okay? Like, it's a reality. I'm not muscular, sure. I'm like 6'1" with tattoos and a resting grumpy face who usually wears black. I don't really think of myself as the most approachable looking person on the first glance, so maybe I get some intimidation points, but like, I'm only like 175 pounds. I ain't tough. I hate fights, drama, conflict. If you actually approach me, and you know me, you'll like realize I'm literally just a teddy bear. I just want to hug people and I'm just a shy puppy dog, okay? I sound loud and talkative and comfortable here right now because I'm most comfortable with myself. That's why this is such a creative outlet to me. I think it helps me. And like what the hell am I gonna do in an altercation, man? But like I'll always stand up to shit I don't like or that I think is wrong. I went to a big university. There are plenty of fraternities at universities. I hate frats to a core. I know frats that are actually infamously known for drugging girls. I've had to carry a girl out of a party before, out of a bedroom, because some guy got her drunk enough to try and have sex with her. And what I said before, this is just like bottom of the barrel effort you should be doing. Chivalry, gentlemanness, like this is like the bar is set low, okay? This shouldn't even be a question of what you should do. And I think I've also done a good job teaching like my girl best friend like the pillars of honesty, loyalty, and communication when it comes to guys she's interested in. I don't tolerate any absence of any of that or absence of any love and affection either, especially you gotta align with your love languages. I have like my love languages are very set in stone. So just something like that. I think I've helped teach that to my guy friends too. Like I don't know. Life is fucking scary, man. Between living in a huge city like Chicago and going to a big university, I've been exposed to a lot of real world shit, dark shit, emotional shit. I'm not sheltered whatsoever. I also had to grow up quite fast with my family growing up. But like just very many people out there that I don't care what they say. They may think they understand some things, but they don't. I just think this ties exactly into Killua's mindset that comes from inexperience and lack of exposure. Like I've met guys who think hugs are weird to the point where I've been jokingly asked, "Yo, what are you a three-letter word that starts with F?" Okay. All because I openly tell my best friends I love them and hug them. My mind was blown that that slur would be tossed out like that. Like literally have been around guys that thought it was gay. Like three or to four guys were sitting on a couch kind of squeezed together like knees and skin touching. Like bro, we got controllers in our hands. We're playing Mario Kart Deluxe over here. Okay? Why are you the one sexualizing dudes sitting on a couch playing video games together? Also, it's not 2011 anymore, dude. You don't look 13. Are you 13? Why are you still using gay as an insult? You know what? Just leave. Your ass more toxic than a goddamn urinal cake in a Chernobyl bathroom, okay? We don't want your ass here, okay? Like, dude, I've been called sus because I wear rings and I let some of my girlfriends paint a couple of my fingernails sometimes when we're bored or just hanging out at like her house or something. And I think painted fingernails on dudes is pretty fucking sick. Like, bruh, can a motherfucker live? Why do you care about how my friendships with people are? Why you care about what I wear or what my style is? You're sounding like a big fat incel, okay? Cool it. Let's not get it mistaken here. I'm the one, like if anything, I'm the one getting my fingernails painted by girls. Why? Because that shit's dope. And maybe, yeah, it is feminine. Do I look like I care? Last remembered, I'm straight. I fucking love women. So what the hell is wrong with embracing some femininity, huh? You the one saying shit like be a man. Ooh, you're not manly. Masculinity this, masculinity that, calling it gay. How you know so well what gay is? You the one always talking about men the most and women the least here. Like shit. There ain't much else to boost your confidence more than getting a compliment from a gay man, okay? They be making your day. If you insecure and unconfident in your sexuality, just say that, okay? I'm the one getting told by girls that rings on guys are hot. I'm the one hanging out with girls and having girl best friends. You know why? Because I'm this thing called normal, genuine, myself, kind, caring, respectful, transparent. I make my friends feel safe and loved and cared for. Your toxic ass don't even got friends to begin with, let alone you probably call girls bitches and sluts just because they decided to wear a crop top out in 80-degree weather, okay? How are you going to hate from outside the club? You can't even get in. I hope those people get better and seek a healthier version of themselves because those people are so lost. Sorry I went on an emotional tangent. Just that shit really pisses me off, okay? And I just went off on such a tangent. Like, what the fuck were we even talking about? That was just such a hyperbolic, exaggerated example of Killua right now. From like thinking Gon is weird for sharing his feelings to him. I just went a completely hyperbolic route, but I just wanted to express like this shit is real in real life. Like I've experienced it on a whole nother plane of existence. Killua asking Gon, doesn't he get embarrassed talking like this? Like, nah, man, free yourself. Gon's got it all correct. And it was just an interesting parallel to make with my own real world experiences, like literally being called the F word or being called sus or like just, I don't know, just weird guy. Like, I don't understand certain shit. But Gon admitting that Killua was also his first friend too is huge. As much as I've discussed so far the contrast and differences between Gon and Killua, it's apparent to me now the strongest chord in commonality they share is isolation. We've discussed plenty on the Zoldyck estate, the scarcity of good company there. But I didn't know until this moment that Gon's childhood exhibited some of the same voids. I remember how the first episode showcased like so many dozens of people at the port, all waving goodbye. I like just how much talking and interaction there was, and Gon having getting along with Leorio and Kurapika so easily. I assumed him being so gregarious and quick to make friends was down to personal experience, having well developed social awareness and skills from like having so many interactions with people back on Whale Island that he's just like a natural extrovert that can just make friends. But it turns out this island really only serves as a pickup or drop off point for sea voyagers. The population is very small and transient. He only ever grew up with one other girl who was a bit older than him, so never really had someone his own age to connect with and bond with and have as company. And I actually wanted to see if we saw this girl before in the first episode, and I think you can actually see her amongst the crowd waving goodbye, kind of tearful looking. Maybe that's her. I don't know. I just thought, why not go back to episode 1 and see? So their greatest commonality is isolation. They both understand some form of loneliness and the desire for friendship. This was huge to learn because it wasn't just a one-way street with Killua, it was a two-way street between the both of them. One thing I was not prepared to learn, or a question I was not prepared for or expecting to be asked or brought up, was Killua asking Gon about his mother. I respect how Gon admits that while it's hard being asked about his dad, it's even harder being asked about his mother. But he still opens up and shares his feelings with Killua. We're still seeing Gon and him himself in greater context through Gon. That's why I really love how in these scenes, how most of the camera shots or angles are from over Killua's shoulder and the point of view looking at Gon from the same angle and direction that Killua is. Gon's mother has never even been brought up before until now. So this was a very cathartic conversational scene. Gon doesn't really know much about his mom. She has never really been spoken about. Mito raised him his entire life, so it wasn't something he felt the need to ask or felt right to ask either. Gon originally thought both of his parents died in a car crash, kind of similar to like what Harry Potter thought of his parents, because that's what Mito told him. But somehow he found out his father was alive and a hunter too. Mito must have told him the reason she lied was because, like, she worried he would go after him and also try to be a hunter, which has ended up being the case. Gon, even though he was told both of his parents were dead when he found out that wasn't the case for his father, at least, he still just figures his mother is dead, and you can feel this is a light-hearted conversation. Even Killua kind of jokes that that's a little harsh to assume, but it's kind of like maybe, but he can't really have any emotion for someone he has never known. He never met his biological mother. There is nothing to really wonder or wish or give more emotion to when Mito became his mom. Mito is his mom. She didn't just fill in the shoes of his mother. She is his mom. The only one he not only knows, but the only one he has. He's lived a warm, loving life on Whale Island. He wonders about his father because that is still an empty hole in his life, but he doesn't wonder about his mother because there isn't anything missing from his life. That isn't something that's missing from his life. He has a mom. He doesn't have a father. Mito is as good a mom to Gon as he could ever wish, want, or ask for. He senses no absence or desire in motherly figures in his already warm, loving life. Ging's place, however, is the more noticeably vacant and empty, so it is natural that Gon's imagination, curiosity, and sense of want has become fixed onto his father. Mother and mom, to me, are two very different things. Father and dad are two very different things. And you see Mito standing behind the bush hearing the conversation because she, as a mother would, got worried about them and wanted to find them and maybe bring them food just in case. So she found them, but didn't want to intrude or have her presence be known. And so she just overheard the conversation amongst close friends Gon confiding in Killua, sharing with him probably what he has never shared with her. So that was extremely heartwarming. Has to be incredibly comforting to hear something like that. But this is where the lore really comes in, okay? Mito presents Gon with a mysterious tiny box, telling him it's something Ging left her. She said Ging told her to give it to Gon when he became a hunter. And I was like, wait, what did you just say? That one sentence alone fucked me up real bad. It flipped all my understanding for me. Maybe I'm stupid, probably yes, but this entire time I never understood how Ging could have had a son, but also ran away from home at 12 to be a hunter. That shit just never made any sense to me because my dumbass just like never thought of the possibility that he ran away from home to become a hunter, then returned home one day with a son that he chose to leave on Whale Island. I don't know what I was thinking before. I don't think I was even thinking. I think I just chalked it up as like, and this shit don't make any sense. It's not going to make any sense unless I get additional context. So, not going to bother rationalizing Ging having a kid, but also leaving home at 12 to be a hunter and no one ever see him again. So, when Mito said that, I was mind blown. Also, for the fact his father Ging knew his son would become a future hunter. Like, he knew the archetypal story of chasing the shadow of one's father. He knew his leaving his son would spark the motivation for his own son to find him someday. And almost like he knew that his abandonment would be the catalyst to his potential. Like, and the only way he probably could find him would be to become a hunter just like he became. Maybe he knows his son very well, even after all these years. Maybe he knows, like, I'm an enhancer. My son will be an enhancer too, and then I'll play into my own analysis of Nen aura types and say enhancers are incredibly goal oriented, even selfishly, would make sense. Ging, an enhancer, abandons his son to pursue his goals. Gon, his one goal is to become a hunter and find his father so he can find out why he abandoned him. Now that Gon is a hunter, she presents him with the keepsake and sits down with Gon to tell him everything she knows about his father. Only right that she does that. No one Gon is going to try to find him either way, regardless what she does. Nothing she could do to stop him, and it doesn't. She doesn't want to stop him really. So only right to help Gon in any way she can. Tell him the truth. And when you watch the episode back multiple times, the first time around I focused on the lore between Ging and Gon. The second time around I focused on Mito. And man, you get hit in the feels when you think more about Mito and how sad you kind of feel for her throughout her life. So, first off, Ging is Mito's cousin. This was very confusing to me because I thought she was called Aunt Mito, but that wouldn't make her Gon's aunt. That would make her his cousin once removed, I believe. I'm horrible with lineage and family trees and blood connections, so I might need one of you to diagram this out, this whole Gon, Mito, and Ging relationship. Like, if I don't get it correctly in my mind right here, right now. So, we have Gon. Gon was born from Ging, an unknown woman. Ging had a father and a mother. Ging's father is Abe's son. Abe is the grandmother, Ging's grandmother to be exact. Ging and Mito share the same grandmother. She is Gon's great grandmother. Abe had two sons, she said. So her first son was Ging's dad. Her second son was Miko's dad. So Mito's father was Ging's uncle. So Mito and Ging were first cousins. That makes Gon and Mito first cousins once removed. I think I have that correct. Mito's oldest memories of Ging go all the way back to when she was 3 years old. So they've known each other their entire lives. And Ging had to have meant a lot to her. At 12, out of nowhere, he decided he was leaving the island. And all he told her was that there is something that he wants. That sounds exactly like Gon if I've ever heard anything more similar. It just sounds like his son. Highly motivated, determined, and goal oriented. Gon really is his father's son. Gon, at the same age, decided he wanted something too. So she never saw Ging again before he left the island after he told her that he was leaving. The parents dying in a car accident isn't what happened to Gon's parents. They are what happened to Mito's parents. So we learn that both of Mito's parents are dead, and Abe's son is dead. Also, Ging's father went missing on a fishing trip. He passed away as well. So it's like, fuck, dude. Like, Ging leaves the island. Mito loses her friend as a result. Ging is no longer here to learn that his own father passed away. Abe loses both of her sons. Mito loses her parents. Like, a whole handful of Mito's entire family just gone in almost an instant from her life. This is what I mean by the shit gets really sad the more you think about it. Like, a whole decade later, once everyone has moved on, or at least tried to whatever extent, after 10 years of Ging being gone from Mito's life, thinking she'd never see him again, he returns to the island with Gon in his arms. And you saw my face during the reaction. I was fucking mind blown. Out of the blue, out of nowhere, he returns with a child, his son, in his arms. That desaturated, almost sepia toned shot of Ging with Gon in his arms, the rain pouring down, and the waves crashing behind him, that shit gave me goosebumps. Of course, that's why it has to be a part of my thumbnail in this video. Ging just shows up out of nowhere with his son and immediately asked Mito and Abe if they could take care of his son, Gon. All Ging said about the mother was that the two of them were separated. So Gon's mother is not dead like he believed, or we don't know what happened to her. I doubt the narrative is going to follow her anytime soon, if at all, especially with Gon's reasoning behind that being the case are both touching and clear. We don't need to go into that. Don't go searching for what you already have. But holy shit, were these some ginormous fucking revelations, okay? My jaw was dropped. Gon wasn't even born on this island. His father took care of him and raised him ever so briefly, as from that shot, Gon was like not super tiny. He had to be at least 1 or 2 years old or something. His mother is not dead. We don't know what's up with her. It's all ambiguous, and all Ging left them was this mysterious box, specifically meant for Gon when he grew old enough and became a hunter. Like, did his father know something about his son? That his son was special or powerful? Like, maybe even needed to be protected? Like, who was this mother? Was she fucking special too? Like that he would surely become a hunter and a Nen user and seek him out. For some reason, Gon wouldn't return ever again another decade later to see his son to be his age and see if he became a hunter. No, it would just abandon. Even though I'm sure his father can go into the hunter database and see whether his son took the exam and passed or not. I can assume that. We also learn more of Ging's past and childhood, how eerily similar it was to Gon's in a few ways. He grew up without friends his age as well. Ging and Mito were the only children around. Mito saw Ging as like a hero to her because she would always get lost up in the mountains trying to chase after Ging to play and hang out with him. The town would always end up panicking trying to find her, but Ging would always be the first to find her with ease. Like he knew her too well, or as though he was just in tune with nature and finding those he loves, just as Gon is adept in this as too, and we've seen him with these traits as well. She would always hide in like the hardest of places, like she didn't want to be found, as the grandma describes. And I could interpret that emotionally almost like she got lost and hid in the places she knew only Ging could find her and reach her. And if she couldn't play with him or spend time with him like she desired, this was the one way she could always get his attention and bond with him. Mito's story is actually really sad when you see it from her perspective. Gon, like his father before him, grew up with only one other child for company, a girl. The simple fact that Ging and Mito grew up with essentially only one another for company, even if she was more of the tag-along kid than seen as an equal to Ging, you can understand that Ging was and still remains an important human being and figure in Mito's life, regardless of the fact that the two have been separated for so many years, longer than they were actually ever together. She was only 3 when he left, and only after a decade did she ever see him again very briefly. But even in those 3 short years out of the 25 or so she's been alive, Ging is still a strong and ever-present emotionally attached figure in her life and in her heart. She still holds many memories with her. She is able to just ramble on and share with Gon. There really isn't anyone else to replace him in her heart. Ging Ging essentially left her twice. She lost Ging once. While he was gone, she lost both of her parents. Ging returns only to leave her once again after asking her to take care of his son, who looks a spitting image like Gon, so a constant reminder of her friend. And another decade later, the boy she raised like her own son leaves her too, just like his father did her back then. Just thinking about how many times Mito has been left behind by those she cares most deeply about, intentionally or not, with malice or not, is really quite sad. She remains a strong woman. It helps you appreciate her strength that she has displayed by supporting Gon in his pursuit of his aspirations. You can understand why she might have lied to Gon before about the fate of his parents, that if she told him his father was alive, she might have worried Gon would just go after him and she would lose him too, even sooner. But then she listens in on Gon, who thinks of her as his only mom that he's ever had. A bond like that, I don't think that can ever break. I think she knows she could never lose Gon because Gon would never truly leave her. And I think she knows she would never truly lose Ging either. Ging returned to the island and thought Mito highly enough, remembered her fondly enough to believe that as she grew older into the adult woman she is now, that she would be a fine mother to his son and could take care of him like he never could. Kind of reminds me of that quote from Sirius Black.
The ones that love us never really leave us. And you can always find them in here.
I think this episode deserves to be watched more than once, more than most others do, because then you can really appreciate the emotional impact and weight that is present in these densely packed 20 minutes here. Like, wow. I couldn't speak more highly of this episode. Anyone who says this episode is boring or slow, you don't know what you talking about. My original preface to this discussion, with that almost like thesis style beginning, talking about what I value most in storytelling and how you can capture my imagination and my emotional investment, this is it right here. This is exhibit fucking A. This is why I say don't just recommend me anime with action or suspense or exhilaration or adventure and whatnot. You know that I'll properly appreciate and do a justice to any and all storytelling. If anything, I shine even brighter in the slower character focused emotional stories. Just look at how long this discussion and video as a whole is going to be as compared to the episodes with Heaven's Arena matches or Hunter exam fights. While most just look at this episode on the surface or like breeze right past it, they don't give it the time, appreciation, and undivided attention it deserves. When I see one of you or a number of you ask me to watch 2 episodes of video instead of 1, stop asking me that. If you can't see, this is why. Grow more patience. Through each anime or show, I purposely choose to go and flow 1 episode at a time. Each episode is telling its own singular portion of the whole story. I'm giving each the dedicated time and focus deserved, okay? I still can't get over the fact Ging knew his son would grow up to take the hunter exam and become a hunter. I felt and left that box for Mito to give to Gon when, not if, when he became a hunter, knowing Gon would look for him. But having the license is one thing. I love how I was so confident, thinking I was a genius calling out that Gon needs to use his license to open up the box, when we just learned not 2 episodes ago, having the license don't really mean shit. It isn't enough. It doesn't mean you're a hunter. You only officially truly become a hunter once you've mastered the basics of Nen. And like was so mysterious, almost eerie and like mythological and supernatural, and just had my imagination soaring when Gon realized in order to open the box, he had to use Hatsu. Similar to the water divination that unlocked secrets about himself, he must use Hatsu again to unlock these secrets. And the same etchings and markings that were present on Gon's promise ring were present on that box. I was like, whoa. Then is when you put the hunter license in the box. As I suspected, I was just one step too early on that quick prediction right there. So, what was in the box? A ring, which looked dope as hell. My dumbass would have put that ring on no hesitation, which like Killua said, be careful. I should know better. I love like Dungeons and Dragons, for example. Dungeons and Dragons, D&D, you find a random ass ring like that and you just put that on your finger, throwing caution to the wind, more often than not some shit's about to go down that you might regret. You're going to have to roll that investigation check first on that bad boy before you go make a constitution saving throw or something. It would indeed be weird if his father did something to that ring that would hurt his son. Maybe only his son can wear the ring. I don't know. Maybe if somebody else wears it, it's bad, but maybe it only his son is allowed to wear the ring. That'll be interesting to find out. There was a memory card, so they'll have to find a computer somewhere on their travels to access the data. Maybe it has coordinates, information, I don't know. But we did see Gon and Killua play the cassette tape, and man, Gon got a manly-ass, good-sounding voice. I'm going to say that right now. I love it. I want to hear more of it. Good casting choice on that voice actor. And man, that line at the end to close out the episode, "Do you want to see me?" Right as the song starts playing, that was the best use of that outro yet so far. That hit different. I don't know how I feel about the last line though. Like, imagine if Gon was like, nah. Like all that effort Ging put into all of that, and Gon's just like, eh. Do you want to see me? I almost feel like saying, dude, don't you feel like seeing your son? Why does your son have to go to you? You the one who abandoned him. I don't know. It almost sounds conceited or something, or ego-ish. Ego Andy. Like, do you have what it takes to find me or some shit? Are you worthy to see me? Do you want to see me? Let me see you try type I don't like you've been waiting at least a decade for him to open that goddamn box for him to hear that question. What the hell have you been doing for 10 years? Like, I don't know. Kind of torn on that sentence. Like, it's like asking one of my friends, "Yo, you want to hang out with me, don't you?" Like my shit don't smell. Like, what? Or like asking a homeless person, "Hey, you want this food, right?" Like, what? Like, maybe it comes off different to me, being that Japanese is a tonal language and I'm just not capturing the tone in my head. Maybe it's sincere in Japanese, but in my mind, as I read the subtitles and almost say it in my own head with my own inner monologue voice, without the context of the tone, I guess, or the fact that it's in a different language, it kind of just reads off with some ego or something. I don't know. I won't judge it yet. I need to meet his father first. I still almost worry this is going to be some like never meet your hero cliche, but we'll see. But you guys realize what I was talking about, where I had a whole lot to discuss and never think an episode is better than another. Like, this was a lot I had to talk about. Like, this is over an hour and 20 minutes. This might be an hour and 40-minute episode for sure. So, safe to say, this is where I'm going to end my discussion today. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button to let me know is awesome. Better yet, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so you can stay in the loop. Don't forget to keep the conversation going down in the comments below where I can connect with you more. If you want to support me and get even more exclusive content in return, such as my Let's Watch Naruto and One Piece series, you can always join Jughead's journey over on my Patreon. Follow me on Instagram for my photography or on Twitter for a more personal side if you'd like. Having said all that, and with that said, so long, farewell, until next time, thank you, be happy, and I hope you have a good one. Peace.